Hi, friends! Life is full of choices, so let's explore the best ways to thrive. This is a Connecting You podcast, hosted by me, Mayra Richards, and my marketing director, Emily Robinson. Tune in to discover a healed, healthy, and purposeful life.
Hi, friends. Welcome back to episode 2 of the Friendship series. We have our special guest, Christina, still back with us today. We're going to be talking about figuring out which kind of friends you want to invest in this season. The last episode, we left off with a question, which we posed to you guys, which is who do you want to invest in this season? And to give a little bit of background on that question, I wanted to ask Mayra and Tina, what do you think the different kinds of friends are in life?
There are friends who you can go deep with, and they're good with it, right? They're friends who are more fun. They're just more fun oriented. And again, I want to say this knowing it's not good or bad. It's just, it is what it is, right? Mm-hmm. There are friends who are really good at serving. They're the ones that you call and you're like, hey, can you help me with this? And they'll come over and do all kinds of stuff to help you out. Our nanny's a lot like that. And I would consider her my friend now. Let's see. They're the motivators, right? The people that shoot it straight shooters. They're like, this is what you're doing. You need to stop.
That's me. I'm hearing different love languages. I'm hearing just different people who are affirming with their words, affirming with their actions, gifts, things like that.
Like their personality. Helpers are always going to show up they love to help. So they kind of show up for you in that way. But I would say there's different kind of friends in terms of kind of where Mayra started. There's levels, surface level friends, people you just interact with out of a connection that's convenient for you both. You may be coworkers, so you already have that connection. You are bonding over something that you're both doing, and that could go deeper, but you would have to take it outside of the space that it just naturally showed up for. If Mayra goes to gymnastics and all the other kids' moms are there, that their kids in gymnastics, they can leave it at surface level. They can enjoy each other's presence at gymnastics and let it be that.
Right.
And they can talk about what's happening. They can talk about what they're getting out of it, what their kids are doing, or they could go deeper. And I think you can go in levels down to the deepest type of intimacy you can have, which for me obviously is God, but in human relationship form would probably be whatever you consider family to be to you. But I think there's different levels of the depth of friendships. There's different types of friendships where my coworkers are totally my friends, but it's a different type of relationship. They only know the outer layer of me. Whereas if I'm in a car crash, I'm going to call the person who's in the deepest layer. And then I may tell my coworkers about it after, but I'm going to call Mayra. I'm on the side of the road. But at the surface layer type of friendship, I may just mention it to them if they ask me, how was your day? What happened last week? Haven't seen you in a while. And then there's kind of in the middle, people I would go out of my way to text, hey, I got in a wreck today. I'm okay, but there's different, I just feel there's different layers almost, levels. There's people there's friendships that you can just enjoy for what it is. People I always see at parties with Mayra, that are her friends, and I know them in that context. And we have a bond through our mutual, love of Mayra. And then there's people that I would invite to my party because of my connection with them. That it's a different type of friend,
I mean, yes and no. I don't really have that many stratified levels. I think because I'm easily offended. So I'm more so of I value loyalty to an incredibly high degree. So to me, it's very much, if you didn't text me or ask me, that I'm something happened, like my foot, I'm like, I notice. I'm like, interesting. So you're just a person that I know then, because you didn't like, I just have people who like you who would offer to come over, who would offer to help, who would offer to like call me. And then there's just people that like, if you don't do those things, I'm like, okay, so I just have like either very surface level or like would be able to like stay at my house type people.
So that is levels, right? Like one level's really deep and the other level's like, okay, you're gonna ask, I'm gonna tell you about things, but it's not gonna, I'm not
But I don't nurture like, I don't nurture at all like, oh, let me just text you about like all the different like examples that Tina has. Like I wouldn't have that. Like it's like the inside and the outside.
I think it may be a difference of the like meaning of the word too, like to where I'm saying a random person, I would consider them a friend, but in a very shallow way. And Emily's saying like they're not actually considered a friend.
Oh, I'm like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Whereas I'm really loose with that term. Like I meet someone 1 second and I'm like, Mayra, meet my new friend.
Who does she remind you of? Candy.
Like Crystal? Oh, my mom. Yeah. My mom is beyond. My mom thinks that like the lady that she met at Walmart is her best friend who she like will literally loan money to.
Yeah. I'm better at it now. I have to be more cautious about my words because of like I do have a best friend and I would have always called anyone I met my best friend, but I have to be more aware. But I am loose with that term, whereas I think Emily is saying like you're either my real friend or you're not my friend at all.
Which is good for people to know too. People can be loosey-goosey with their terms, and that's okay. You just have to get to know them and be like, okay, well, does she mean friend like we're friends? Like I think the word friendship means like really best friend, or does she mean friend like we're acquaintances, right?
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, I think people's actions just show you like through like if you visit somebody and they don't really spend time like with you, or you know, depending on the different season that they're in and the different like personalities. But I think I'm more like Mayra's mom was, which I don't know if I learned this from her, if I was already like this, but we like keep tabs kind of. Like she was very much a woman who like noticed the little things that people do. And like if you do this thing that I think is like a betrayal, then you're kind of like out.
Yeah, she had trust issues, and so do you, and that's okay. Whatever keeps you safe, you know.
I think there's a root under that though of like discernment. I would say like your mom was really discerning as well.
Yes, to where like judgy.
Yeah, like she, you know, whereas I can discern something, but I still push into it unafraid a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like your mom may be a little more reserved with that person. But the person she trusts, she's like, I love you. Here's everything, you know.
But she didn't. She didn't have friends.
Oh, really?
Yeah. She had like maybe one best friend.
She had like a couple like people like Maria from LJ. I was her friend. I think her friendship just looked different to her. And it was very much like, I mean, the same way that like the people who like want to be my friends, like people had to want to be her friend, just because, as you said, we don't take things lightly, or we don't bother to repair them if they break. So those are the kinds of different people that we can choose to invest in. I don't know that we define that very well, but how can we, Mayra, you're our guiding counselor, how do we know which kind of friend is good for me? Because we just defined like the three of us have these different personalities, but how would I go about being like, this is the friend that I need?
We have to go back to different seasons. Like what season are you in? What, you know, I came recently we have a pretty big moms group, which is great. We get together with our kids and it's so much fun and we love it. And we invite them over and they invite us over. But I needed depth, right? And it was and so I had to go find that depth, and I need both. But I think that when my
What do you
mom
mean by
passed,
depth?
I needed to have like deep conversations, less about my kids and more about, hey, what's going on with your heart? What's going on with you? What's going on in your grieving process? What's going on in your relationship with Gavin? What's going on with God? Like questions that people would feel uncomfortable with having or answering. And so now I'm out of that season. Like I'm still grieving, yes, but I'm out of that season. I still value that, and I drive like an hour and a half to get that, to find those people as a group, right? I mean, I think with Tina, we see each other like once a week, which is really nice.
It's not enough.
It's not enough, but it's better than nothing, I guess. And so figuring it out, like, okay, what do I need? What is it that I need right now? Do I need people who are encouraging? I am not the most words of affirmation. So if you in your life right now need validation and words of affirmation, don't make me your friend. Like that's just, I will try my best, but that's not my go-to. But there are people like Christina, you're really good with words. We have our friend Anna. She's really good with words, and so she's amazing. And so gravitate towards those people. And then the other question would be, what do I have to offer to those people? Because it is a friendship. It's not just about you, but it's also about them. So do I have anything to offer? Again, when my mom passed, I had nothing to offer anybody. Like I was just kind of like, I am just floating around in the world. Right. And now I can reach out to other types of people because I'm like, oh, okay, like you need help. Like I'm here to help you out because I have the capacity for that.
I think you made a good point. Before we ask Tina, I think you made a good point with the words of affirmation, like that you enjoy them, but you don't necessarily give them. Like the things that you offer don't have to be the same things that you like want to receive. It just has to be that that person wants to give that to you and you want to give what they need to them.
Yeah.
What would you say, Tina?
What kinds of friends do I want? Is that the question?
Like, how did you know? Like the process of knowing which kind was compatible with you, good for you, as opposed to like just everyone that you know.
I think the quote of like, you're most like the people that you spend the most time with, just is so true for me in this question, that it's like, I normally am chasing people that inspire me. Like there's something about their life that I can recognize is something I aspire to be. So I would say I'm less passive about who I'm attracted to. It's more like people that inspire something in me that I know is who I'm called to be. And that challenge me. I really enjoy people that challenge the way that I think, the way that I live, why I'm doing the things I'm doing. I really love that. I'm a person that loves feedback. Like I've never been someone who's been offended by someone calling me out. Like that actually makes me thrive. Because that to me says that they care enough about me, that they care about who I'm becoming, how I'm living my life, if I'm becoming the person God created me to be fully or not. Like if they're just there to please me and make me feel good, it almost feels like they're not truly in the throes with me of like, I'm in this so that we're all becoming the best versions of ourselves and offering the world the best that we have to offer. And so like Mayra's just easy. I mean, she's right here, but she really is my best friend. So it's like one thing that I'm attracted to is like people who are investing in their full self, like every part of they're working on stuff. Like they're not just letting life happen to them. It's like Mayra's example of saying that she had nothing to offer when her mom passed is so wild, because I was in the biggest crisis of my life and she moved me into her house. So it's like she's sitting here saying like, I have nothing to offer at my lowest, and I'm saying you offered me everything, so it's weird, like the way that people impact us as friends versus how we think that we're impacting others. But I like that Mayra said something about like what we have to offer them, because I don't think about that as much. But that's a natural thing that's going to happen no matter who you're choosing. Like, you're already like signing up to invest in them however you are as a person without knowing it. Like, our friend Anna is a server helper, you know, like she is going to show up whether she has decided to do that intentionally or not as like helpful. Like, she's always gonna, like, if she's present, like that's what's happening. Like, she's serving us, making our lives easier, making our lives funner. But I think I look for people like that they're just like being authentically themselves. I'm a preacher's kid, so we have like a am I allowed to cuss on this? We have a BS meter to where people that are fake, we just don't align with. Like, my first filter is always like people being real. So I'm naturally drawn towards that. But I think a little bit deeper is people that are either inspiring me. I'm like, oh, I need to get my life together just looking at how they live, or people that are just like really pursuing growth and wholeness in like every area of their life. Like, you know, even Gavin, Mayra's husband, like he's always studying something or learning something or putting something back together, or you know, he's doing his own thing. He's not like just kind of people pleasing whatever the people around him are. He's like on his thing, and that's inspiring to me. That reminds me that like, oh, I just need to do all the things that I care about doing, instead of just like, oh, this group's really into this, so I'm just going to be really into this. Like, that's not really my style.
Yeah.
What are you thinking?
Well, I think that was a really good point that you guys like accidentally brought up, which is like Mayra thought she had nothing to give, and you thought she had given you a lot. So it's like the things that you can give very, very naturally to your friends, and like finding the people that means a lot to. Like, that sounds like a really important connection, because it was so not effortless, but it was like a seamless in your minds of like, of course, this is, you know, something that I'm going to give her, but you're not even thinking about it because you have it's such a hard time for you anyways. My friendships are just with people who like, we have these, I guess, high expectations of what it is to be a friend and like what it is to like listen to your friends. And I guess I am like a very picky person, whether that's like food or cars or friendships. So I don't know. It's like I don't even have anything to answer the question, because to me it's so seamless that like the people who like make the effort just remain there.
Well, I think what I hear you saying is that you are, which kind of friend would be good for you? Like, that's the question. And so you would say, for me, the answer is the friend who has similar values to me, who can define friendship similarly. And that means they have similar values. And therefore we do form this community of give and take, because we all know what that means.
And I think that's why I have fewer friends. But for me, like having that like fewer friends is like okay, because I'm like comfortable with a circle who like has the same like baseline of like commitment.
Yeah.
So I feel like you value most like consistency, like people that are fully committed to you and like you're fully committed to them. Like that loyalty just keeps coming back up.
And that is even for the next question of how do I invest in those specific connections? That is how you invest with them. It's like you are serving them. You don't want to sometimes or all the time, whatever that looks like for you, but you are serving, but you will go above and beyond to make them seen, known, and loved.
Yeah, I think it's probably just because we're older and we've lived through so many variations of friend groups. And I feel like have had to fight super hard to keep our friendship what it is.
Yeah.
Like it's a choice that we've made. And I think anyone outside of like Mayra, to me, it's almost like we have to have a lot of level up conversations throughout. Like we have to like continue to evaluate, like, are we investing in this? Like there's people that I would love to be
like a relationship.
Yeah. We have to define the relationship and like keep it up to date, almost like a software update. Like, but then once you get to a certain level, like you don't, like Mayra's like my family. So we definitely can invest in our relationship intentionally, but I also am never worried that like she's got my back, you know?
Yeah.
And she probably will never worry. If she texted me and said, come over right now, like I wouldn't ask why. I would just do it. Whereas most people, I would be like, what's up? I'm busy, you know? you know?
Yeah.
But I think how I invest now and like the people that are good for me is more of like opposite of you, Emily. I'm like too trusting. So like I'm always questioning, like, is this a person that's safe for me to not be taken advantage of on how open I am and like how giving I am and how much I'm willing to like be all in immediately. Like I'm actually the opposite. Like I have to ask and actually need help, like from other people's perspective to like check in if I should even be friends with people. Cause I don't have any like initiation period. Like you meet me, you're
I'm like
in.
a holding period where you're like in
I
transit.
need that balance. I need to come meet you in the middle somehow. Cause like if I meet you today, I'll be like, oh, come to my family vacation, literally. I mean,
you've done that before
with anyone. And so now that like I've, you know, kind of grown, I'm like, oh, I need to invest in people that have the capacity to be a stable friend to me, whether or not I think normally I meet someone and I see value in them and like who they were created to be. And I get so excited about not who they are, but who they could become and who they're supposed to, what they have inside of them, that I just want to pour myself into them, which is really different relationship than someone having your back and like someone that is not going to abandon you or take advantage of your willingness to accept them. Boundaries are probably my hardest thing ever. So I'm still there, but I try to invest in people that I can like have a bit of logic to it and be like, wait, are they like in a season that what they're saying is matching what they're doing and what they're going after in life is something that I know is like what I believe is like good to be going after, you know?
Yeah. And I think that it's funny that you mentioned that Tina's like my mom, because I think that I like my style of like having a hard time letting people in comes from being around someone like Tina.
Yeah.
Who like just lets everybody in. And then sometimes, you know, you get burned.
Yeah.
And so like I think it came about in terms of like I'm trying to guard like the whole house. Or like my mom and I are like a 2-person house. And so yeah, she's just so trusting, and I've watched her like pour a lot into like people who don't give anything back, people who don't call her. Like it's hard because she never gives up. Like she never, like her high school bully can reach out 30 years later for like money or something crazy and need help, and she'll just like help them. So yeah, I think it's like a very much learned experience. Huh?
Yeah, there's so much beauty in that. There's so much beauty in Tina hearing you and being like, hey, I think I need an initiation process. But also for you to be like, hey, maybe I should give more people, you know, what do they call it? Something of a doubt. What did they say?
Benefit of the doubt.
Benefit of the doubt. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we could balance each other out a little bit, Emily.
Yeah.
But I have to get help. Like I'm like Candy, but I have like been burned a little too much. Where now I'm like got my like bumper wheels on.
Which is
So I'm learning, but it's tough because you just want to be like, oh, like sure.
Yeah.
But you have to have a little bit of burn to like recognize, oh, there's like a cost to get. You only have so much to give, and when you give it, you can't get it back. So like you have to decide what you want to invest in because it's going to return to you. And it's either going to hurt you or it's going to heal you.
Yeah. Sounds like something to process with our counselors.
What do you feel like to your people who are like your actual close, deep friends? Like, what do you feel like you bring to them? What would they say about how you show up for them?
Yeah, well, I've actually asked before because dating apps, okay, so there's this like dating app prompt which asks you to like tell a friend to like describe you to the people who would potentially swipe on you, I guess. And like I asked my the guy that I mentioned before, like my roommate from college, and he was really like heartfelt and thoughtful, and it was like I remember it. Which is that like if you were on like a 10-hour road trip, you would want to go with me because I would like figure out how to make it very fun, like no matter what was going on. And I think that that's kind of what I always try to bring is like the lightheartedness or like making everybody feel better. I don't know, like I'm just kind of there for everything. I think I bring the same process back to people in terms of like if I do like you, then I will be there for like no matter what happens.
That's good. Mm-hmm. You know, an example for the last question is, what do I have to offer in this season? I don't have much time because I am a mom, run a business, blah, blah, blah. Everybody probably has their own stuff of why I don't have much time. So if I give you my time, that's going to mean like, hey, actually value our friendship.
Yeah.
You know, it doesn't have to be anything. Maybe you have to offer fun. Maybe you have to offer the nail service. Tina came over and she did my nails the other day. You know, it doesn't have to be something huge, but even if it's small, like everybody has something to offer to another person. So we just want you to think about those questions.
And I think you can also always offer asking someone what they need. Like I can ask Mayra, I might not get to see you this week, but what's something you need from me? Or is there anything I can do for you? And she might literally say, can you come do my nails? You know, it could be as silly as that. But I do think it takes a little bit of insight to like figure out what people need from you before you can even know what you have to offer. I don't have time right now either. And so when I make time, like it's such a huge offering, honestly. Like I wouldn't just hang out with a new friend right now because I only have so much. So if I have any time, I want to see my people. But I think we always have something to give. So I think thinking about what you have to give in this time of your life in this season is going to help you build like meaning and value even when seasons change a lot.
Yeah. I think I give the last thing I want to say is I think my friends are going to get mad if I don't amend my last answer, which is that they're going to be like, no, be honest, which is that sort of like a harsh reality check. I've never been able to be friends with people unless like kind of what Tina was saying before is like people who aren't afraid to say when they think I'm doing something wrong. Yeah. And like I've lost friends from telling them that, but that's okay. Friend, this is Emily. Thank you so much to Tina for her honesty with this episode and agreeing to speak with us. My favorite quote from this episode that she gave us was the following: "You have to decide who you want to invest in because it's going to return back to you, and it will either hurt you or heal you." I thought that was so insightful. And next week, I'm going to have one of my friends on the show. His name is Ibrahim. He is one of my old roommates from Harvard. He and I have had different rocky encounters with our friendship, but we persevered and we're doing very well now. So I'm going to ask him some questions about how the health of friendships evolves over time, as well as how he thinks you can navigate that sort of conflict.
As we wrap up today's episode, we are grateful you join us to explore what it means to remain connected to God, to yourself, and to others. To stay updated on future episodes, be sure to hit that subscribe button and connect with us on Instagram and Facebook at Remain Connected. Counseling appointments can be made at RemainConnectedLLC.com. Your support means the world to us. Until next time, may you find peace in your connections and blessings in every step of your journey. Have a blessed day.